You know that feeling on your morning commute? The one that feels like just complete and utter chaos? Well, what if I told you it's not chaos at all? It turns out there's a hidden script, a kind of invisible science that governs every single move on the road. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're just sitting there, inching along, bumper to bumper, wondering how this can possibly be happening again. That feeling of being totally stuck is universal, but the reasons behind it? They're surprisingly calculated.
Believe it or not, the traffic jam you're in, the route you decided to take, even the kind of street you're on, it's all part of a massive, predictable system. And in this explainer, we are going to decode that system together.
To make sense of all this, let's invent a commuter. We'll call them Alex. Now, like millions of us, Alex has a daily journey to work. But here's the crazy part. City planners have probably already predicted every move Alex is about to make.
So how on earth do they do that? Well, planners have this powerful tool. It's almost like a secret recipe for forecasting all the travel that's going to happen in a city. It's a 4-step model, and it's pretty much the foundation for all urban transportation planning.
And here it is, the 4-step transportation model. This is the playbook. It's the standard way cities figure out where people are going, how they'll get there, and which roads they're going to take. It's how a city literally tries to see into the future of its own streets.
Okay, so this whole thing breaks down the commute into 4 simple stages. First up, trip generation. It just asks, how many people, like Alex, are even leaving their neighborhood to begin with? Then, trip distribution figures out where they're all headed. Step 3 is modal split, and this one's huge. It predicts how Alex travels. Are they driving, taking the metro, hopping on a bus? And finally, traffic assignment maps out the exact route they're most likely to take.
So, what do you think is the secret sauce for that very first step, trip generation? It all comes down to land use. Seriously, the number of houses, the number of jobs, the shops in an area, that's the single biggest predictor for how many trips are going to start there. It all begins with how the neighborhood itself is built.
All right, so we get the plan. But how do planners actually measure and talk about traffic? They can't just say a road is busy or kind of slow. They have a very specific language to translate that real-world chaos into cold, hard numbers.
And the first word in this new language is the passenger car unit, or PCU. The easiest way to think about it is like a currency converter, but for traffic. A big bus obviously doesn't take up the same space as a tiny bicycle, right? So PCU converts every vehicle on the road into a standard unit, one car.
And here's how it breaks down. So a regular car is, 1 PCU. But check out the bus. It has a PCU of 3.0. So in the eyes of a traffic planner, one single bus takes up the same road space as 3 passenger cars. A two-wheeler is half a car, and a bicycle is just a tiny fraction, only a fifth.
Okay, quick pop quiz. Based on what we just saw, how many cars is one bus equivalent to? You got it, it's 3. And that simple number is absolutely fundamental for calculating how much traffic a road can actually handle.
The next key term you got to know is level of service, or LOS. Honestly, it's basically a report card for a road. It gets a grade from A to F that tells you exactly how well it's performing and what it actually feels like to drive on it.
And here are the 2 extremes. Level of service A, that's the dream. An open road, high speeds, absolutely zero stress. But on the other end of the spectrum, you've got LOSF. The official term is forced flow, but we all know it by another name, gridlock. It's when the whole system has just completely and totally broken down.
So, which grade do you think represents that critical tipping point, that moment when a road is at its absolute maximum capacity just before it all falls apart into total gridlock? That would be LOSE. It's the last, final stage of stable flow before everything goes off the rails.
Okay, so now let's zoom out and look at the physical network itself. A city's road system isn't just a random mess of streets. It's a very organized hierarchy. Think of it like a circulatory system for the city designed to move traffic from massive arteries all the way down to the tiniest capillaries. At the very top of this hierarchy, you have the arterial roads. These are the big ones, the main mobility spine of the city. Think of your city's major ring road or highway. They're built for huge volumes of traffic and higher speeds, maybe 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, with very few exits or entrances to keep things flowing.
One level down, you've got subarterial and collector streets, and their job is pretty much right there in the name. They collect all the traffic from your local neighborhood and feed it onto those big arterial roads. And of course, they do the exact opposite on your way home. They're the essential connectors.
And finally, we get to the local streets. This is the last leg of your journey. These are the roads with the lowest speeds, maybe 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, because they provide direct access to people's homes. And here, the priority totally shifts from moving cars quickly to making sure residents and pedestrians are safe.
So let's put all these pieces together. We're going to look at Alex's journey one last time, but now we'll see it through the eyes of a planner. And you'll see that what feels like just a random commute is actually a sequence of perfectly defined, predictable events.
So check this out. The second Alex decides to leave home in the morning, boom, that's trip generation. When Alex chooses the metro instead of driving, that's the modal split. The specific route the metro takes along the city's main corridors, that's traffic assignment. Meanwhile, the mix of all the buses, cars, and bikes on the roads below is being measured in PCU, and the quality of Alex's ride, whether it's smooth or a total crawl, is being graded by its level of service. See? It all connects.
So, that morning rush, it isn't really chaos. It's this incredibly complex dance that has been modeled, predicted, and designed from the ground up. And this hidden system doesn't just shape our commute, it shapes the very cities we all live in.
And that really leads to one final huge question. If we can predict traffic with this much detail, if we actually understand the plan behind the chaos, can we use that knowledge to design smarter, more efficient, and just better cities for all of us? That's something to think about on your next commute. Thanks for joining me.